There are two histories of Hopi Junior Senior High School. One is the history with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the other is the history post-Bureau of Indian Affairs. And so we look at Hopi Junior Senior High School as a result of a settlement between the Navajo and Hopi tribes. And that settlement was the 1974 Navajo-Hopi land settlement. And so arising out of that Navajo-Hopi land settlement was the fact that Hopi would get a junior-senior high school to accommodate approximately 800 students. And also the Hopi tribe would have an Indian Health Service hospital built in exchange for the Navajos getting clear distinction on what is Navajo partition land, Hopi partition land, joint use area, and also a section somewhere in between Kings Canyon and Jettato called Jettato Island. And it's a unique piece of land. It's really ceded to the Navajo Nation, but yet it's surrounded by the Hopi tribal lands. And so out of that, we had Hopi Junior Senior High School completed in 1986. And it was a Bureau-operated school. And I think what you'll find is that the facility itself was exquisite. I mean, it's a $26 million facility, a lot of really fine classrooms and a really fine gymnasium and auditorium, but what we found was we didn't have any operating funds. And so from 1986 until 1995, we ran budget deficits of approximately $400,000 per year. And most of those budget deficits arose out of the fact that we have a huge transportation bill. And our transportation budget exceeded the amount that was given to us by approximately $400,000. So we transport approximately today 19 buses over 1,700 miles to pick up and deliver children to their homes. That's paid for, and we get a certain amount per mile through our ISEP funding, Indian School Equalization Program funds, through the Office of Indian Education Programs. What we don't get funded for is the activity runs that we run after school, and those number something like 2,000 miles per day also. So we run buses to and from, and we pick up the tab. And that was cutting into our educational funds. And so can you imagine a school with one photocopier for 9 years? And there were times when teachers would run up to the school, such as me, at 2 in the morning on Sunday morning, just to make sure that I had my photocopies for the week, because once the copier broke down, it meant writing all that information on the board so the students could copy it and take it home. So we were really a very poor school, and instead of having 800 students attend, we had approximately 350. And so the funding issue arose because we were undermanned as far as students. We could not attract the other 500 students. In 1995, we decided to go grant. And what grant means is that under Public Law 10297, the federal government offered the Hopi tribe, as part of the Sovereignty Act, the opportunity to take over Hopi Junior Senior High School. And by taking it over, they would become then the grantee. And the school board then would administer that grant for the Hopi tribe. And so there are three issues here that I'll discuss. One is Hopi tribal sovereignty. And I think that's important in this whole decision, because without the ability for Hopi Junior Senior High School to run its own affairs and to localize its own decisions, our success would not be possible. The second item that I think is important is continuity. Before 1995, we had no less than 80% turnover rate for those 9 years in each consecutive year. And so in order to attract additional students, we had to retain the teachers and the staff that we had. So that was an issue that we needed to deal with. Between 1986 and 1995, Hopi Junior Senior High School had 17 principals and junior high principals, an average of 2 a year, that resigned and were replaced, and sometimes they weren't even replaced. And so the system was hurting and it was ill, and so the Hopi tribe and the Hopi Junior Senior High Governing Board decided to go grant. And grant really means block grant. And what that is that according to our ISEP funding, each student is given a certain dollar amount, and the more students you have, the greater the funding. And so when we went grant, we also looked into the fact that we needed to increase enrollment and that perhaps we needed to do other things. And what we did at that time then is we applied for state charter status. And so we became a federal grant school and a state charter school. And under the state charter funding formula, we were to get so many dollars per student, namely $4,500 per student, in addition to our Indian School Equalization Program funds of approximately $3,200 per student, which would have generated somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000 per student, which would increase our funding. The first year that we went grant charter, it meant that we were given about $1.8 million from the state of Arizona due to the fact that we had approximately 375 students, close to 400. There were 10 other schools, 8 on the Navajo reservation and 2, we were one of them, that went grant charter. After the first year of grant charter, our Arizona State Legislature, who supposedly is education friendly, enacted what is called the deduct law. And the deduct law stated that if you were receiving federal funds for students enrolled at your school, they would deduct the amount of charter funds that you got because they were saying that's double dipping. And so after the first year, we were getting $1.8 million. The second year, we were trimmed back down to $12,000. And so that currently is being challenged by the Native American Grant School Association, and that's in court right now. And if that case wins, then we will get all of our money retroactive to the point that the deduct law kicked in. But case in point is that the $1.8 million was a significant amount. And at that time, we decided to invest heavily in technology. And what we did was we threw out all of our old books from Phoenix Indian High School, which we had on loan after they closed, which are no less than 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 or 30 years old. And all the equipment that we had gotten from 1986 until 1995, namely the Mac Plus and Mac SC80s, and really the old generation of computation. And we started to invest in high quality hardware and software. And so the question was, with all of this technology and with all this investment, what are we going to do with it? And what we were seeing is that no matter how much we could prepare our students for college, that if they went off to college, there were a number of issues such as culture shock, being in the city for the first time, not being equipped to compete at college. Students would go to college, but then after the first semester, they would drop out. And we found very few students completing their first year. And so the question was, how do we rectify that as quickly as possible? And the answer was that we bring college out to Hopi Junior Senior High School. And to do that then, we had to establish partnerships. And we established partnerships with Northern Arizona University and with Northland Pioneer College, and that partnership 2 years later became the 2+2+2 program. And the 2+2+2 program, I'm sure you've read about or can read about in the brochure. I'm not going to get into it. But what, in a nutshell, it is that our students are able to take up to 30 concurrent high school credits for college credit if they pass, paid for by Hopi Junior Senior High School, with the understanding that those students enrolled in the program would then go on to either a 2-year junior college and or a 4-year university. And since 1997, we've been conducting that program very successfully, and it's meant that many of our students who would have normally gone to either a junior college or a university and not succeeded have been able to transition very successfully into those college programs. And I think that's why we got the high honors, because we are so successful in having that transition. Also, there was the issue of when our Hopi and Navajo students go off to college, they leave their culture behind, and many of them really need that culture during the time that they go to school. So the fact that we have a Northland Pioneer College campus at Hopi Junior Senior High on our 880-acre educational site, and we have an interactive instructional television room from NAU, those two elements enable us to successfully proceed with the 2+2+2 program. This is shot on digital video technology. This is our sign. We're able to afford a lot of things now because our enrollment has climbed over the last 5 years. Currently it's 739 students. And how were we able to achieve that kind of growth, 70% growth in 5 years? It's because of the programs that we were able to establish and offer, such as we have a local national junior and national senior honor society. We have an academic decathlon team, which was voted most improved in 2000. We also have a long tradition of excellence in athletics, particularly cross country, and our boys cross country team has won 13 consecutive state championships, as our girls have won 12 out of 13. Last year, we moved from 2A to 3A, which 3A begins at the high school level in Arizona at 449 students. So our combined population, we have about 210 students in the junior high and about 525 in the high school. Now we're coming into Hopi Junior Senior High School. This is about a 1.3-mile road. And you can sort of see the condition of the road. The BIA, and I'm not going to slam the BIA because they do provide our funding, I don't want to be cut off, but they really don't do a whole lot for road improvement or infrastructure improvements, and so we've had to take on a lot of those responsibilities ourselves. I think mentioned yesterday was the fact that when we had the school built in 1986, the BIA thought that a football field was 80 yards long, so we had to move the goalpost back another 20 yards. But with that, they provided us landscaping, but no water to water the trees or the football field, so everything died within the first year. And since we've gone grant, we've installed a new football field, irrigated football field, and also just last year we completed a baseball and softball field. And so as we're driving in, this is sort of the long and winding road that we've taken from BIA to grant and charter status. And as I explained yesterday, the first year in the charter we had acquired a $1.8 million allotment from the state of Arizona, and we invested heavily in technology. And so we installed, about 3 years ago, the T1 line, and later upgraded that to a T100 line at school, which I'm not real familiar with computer infrastructure, but we pretty much have state-of-the-art equipment, and you'll see some of that, including high-speed internet access at the school. Our 2+2+2 program relies heavily on various aspects of technology, and as we look at what we have at the school, computerization is a huge factor in what we can accomplish, and we have business management technologies which incorporate all of those computer technologies, as do our 2+2+2 program. And that program is really a college transition program which allows students in their junior and senior year to take concurrent college courses, which can be transferable to any 2- or 4-year institution. And we're pulling up right now to the new Northland Pioneer College campus. which was built 2 years ago, and with the diligence and help of Dr. Ivan Sidney, former chairman of the Hopi tribe, and our current governing board president, he was very instrumental, along with our board and our administration, Dr. Paul Reynolds, our superintendent, in getting this 11,000 square foot campus built on our 800-acre educational site. And now we're going to the NPC campus. This is their administrative building. This is totally separate from our building, but a lot of our students will take classes down here, as do our educational aides. And this is their computer lab. I'm just doing a little walkthrough right now of the NPC campus. Our students can take up to 20 NPC courses. They will take English 101, 102, college English, concurrent while they're in high school. They can also take government. They can also take bio 101, 102. And what we're planning on doing is strengthening the partnership for their pre-nursing program and pre-educational program. And so we're looking at expanding the concurrent courses that we will be offering not only at our school. And this is the teacher compound where our teachers and professional staff live. You know, 2 streets down there. Okay, now we're driving up to the school. And the fencing, the landscaping, that was all initiatives that we incorporated. This box up here is what we call Checkpoint Charlie. And we are a closed campus. And this helps us monitor people coming and going and assuring parents and community that nobody comes and leaves our campus without us knowing. And that really maintains a very safe, friendly school environment. On the right is our stadium. We just installed new seats for visiting teams. Since we are 3A, and 3A attracts a larger number of visitors to our campus. And as you pull up to the school, you can see that the area that surrounds us is pretty expansive, and we live at about 6,000 feet elevation on the high desert plateau. We live between Kings Canyon and Palaka, Arizona. Palaka is at First Mesa, and the Hopi Reservation has 3 mesas, first, second, and third mesas. And it expands all the way down to Highway 264 and Highway 160, which is Mount Hopi, and comes all the way east to Hopi Partition Land on Highway 264, milepost 405. And this is approaching our school, and our school is 16 years old. It was built in 1985, opened in 1986, and it was BIA controlled until 1995. This is coming into our administrative area. These are a couple of the murals that the students painted a couple years ago as a senior class project. I'm not sure if you're able to see it. It's sort of like here. There's another mural. Our Hopi students are outstanding artists, and I think the first year I worked there, I taught mathematics and social studies, and students used to draw in my class all the time, and I got a little bit perturbed that they were drawing rather than paying attention to me. But then once I saw the quality of their artwork, I was amazed at the kind of energy they had and the kind of talent. Now we're coming into the IITV, the Interactive Instructional TV. This is the Northern Arizona University's interactive classroom, and with partnership from NAU, and this is our Northern Arizona University Chemistry 151 class, which we offer for 5 credits, 5 college credits. Get some sound. Sort of funky video here. NAU invested $500,000 in this equipment to make this possible. There are 6 IITV rooms throughout the state, and we are one campus. We are the Hopi campus, and there are 4 others on the Navajo Nation and 1 in Yuma. And those are considered their satellite learning centers. And Hopi Junior Senior High School offers a 10-credit college course, Chemistry 151, 152. And the professor teaches that course from NU. This is our library, and we incorporate the accelerated reading program, which is a learning information system. And this is one aspect of how we start our 7th and 8th graders, even though this is school-wide, towards improving the reading skills and getting them started early towards bringing their reading and writing skills up to proficiency, because we get a lot of students from 3 different mesas, and they have all sorts of different learning styles, and we get them really anywhere from 1st grade reading level up through post 12th grade, and we don't have a unified district. And now this is our Dell lab, our business management technology. You can see the type of equipment we have, and this is our Mac lab in the same area. And then across the hall, we have a junior high Macintosh lab. Those are the old computers that we got about 3 years ago, which we thought were state of the art, and now teachers don't even want to plug those in because they're non-internet accessible. But we do recycle those and give those out to the villages for general use, for data processing. This is Mr. Loveland's math class, and you can see the students are using graphing calculators, and the school buys those for all the students, and they're probably about $140 per issue.
Yeah, cosine, what's the range of cosine? It only goes from 1 to -1. Square root of 2 is more than 1.
Huh?
This is Mr. Metzer's class. He's
one of 5 different classes that I teach. This is the Northland Pioneer College Biology 181, 182, which the students can take for concurrent high school and college credit. So all these students in this room are in their 2nd semester of college biology. They earn 5 college credits first semester, and they will earn 5 this semester. Oh. You know, malaria is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people every year in the tropics. That's important, isn't it? Okay? Now tell me this, why are LJ important?
These microscopes, we purchased 30 microscopes at $800 each, and we're really the envy of many schools when they come and see the kind of equipment and programs that we offer, and we're very proud of the fact that we're able to do this in such a short period of time, and that we were recognized by Harvard University for this program that we put together. And the technology that we have now enables us to do movies like this, and students can get into a computer and edit this and make their own movies, and a lot of our students now attend colleges and universities and don't drop out after the first year because they're fully acclimated to the university environment when they get there. And that's pretty much my presentation. Any questions at all?
So can we see the student version of this?
Okay. Okay, yes?
I do have a question about the funding. This can't all be true of an even grant money.
I'll tell you how the funding works. Generally, the students are counted by September 26th. It's called ISEP Count Week. And so ISEP, Indian School Equalization Program funds, those are tied to whether or not we have Native American students at our school. So if we can show on their certificate of Indian blood at 1/4 Indian blood or more, then we get funding for them. And that funding is about, this year I think it was $3,730 per student. And so with that funding, that's your weighted student unit, with that funding you have other things that are included like Title I monies, Title II, Title IV, Title IX monies. And those are all what they call formula funded grants. And so with that, with those extra monies, with special education monies, and with our charter funds, we come up with a certain dollar amount. Okay, and so if you have 385 students, or if you have 785 students, or whatever, you're still paying pretty much for the same cost as far as electricity and infrastructure or whatever. And so we do generate more money, but we still pay out almost the same amount in salary for teachers and whatnot. So we've been able to manage that money, and by going grant, the BIA has provided what are called administrative funds. And administrative funds are those funds that allow us to conduct our own business area, whatever, but a lot of times we'll shift over those administrative funds into the educational field to help pay for programs that fund a lot of these programs that we have. So no, they're not all BIA funds, but generally a good amount of it, I would say 90% of it, is BIA generated.